Hello everyone, it's Kyle Wersinski. I'm going to be doing a presentation on professional versus religious codes of ethics for MPA 580. So the two professional codes of ethics that I have worked with in my profession are through one of the professional organizations I'm part of, which is International Economic Development Council, otherwise known as IEDC, and then ICMA, which is International City County Management Association. So I'm part of both of those. I'm in the city manager's office as well as I do economic development duties for the city I work for. Realistically, they have very similar codes of ethics. There's a couple different nuances that I'll get into at the very end that are very particular to these two professional fields. But realistically, like most other professional codes of ethics, some of the key tenets are conducting duties to bring respect to yourself as well as the profession as a whole. Respect to your community's interest because you're a public servant, so you have to respect their interest in what we are doing. Use integrity, fairness, honesty, be truthful. Those types of things are key tenets within both codes. What's interesting is that both of them have this sense of duty to improve yourself or oneself. So you need to continuously have training or education. They have different hours that you need to put in each year in order to kind of further yourself, so you as a professional within this industry do not become stagnant in your knowledge as kind of the economy or as society moves forward and evolves. A key component for both of these is to be free of influence. We deal with a lot of private public partnerships, or we deal with a lot of the private industry in terms of getting them to do things and build or develop, and it could be very easy to leverage your position at City Hall to gain some sort of personal benefit. A good example would be if I'm working on a car dealer, it'd be really easy for me to go over there and say, hey, give me a really good deal on this truck. But our code of ethics as well as your personal morals really combat that, and that's something that's a key tenet, is just not to gain personally from your position in public administration. Another one is to uphold the laws of your jurisdiction. So as administrators, we implement the policies and the laws that the politicians set forward. And lastly is cooperate with your peers, your colleagues, and people from other neighboring agencies. The ones I talked about that were a little bit unique for these two is ICMA has this rule where if you take a city manager job, you really should be devoted to that jurisdiction for a minimum of 2 years. Both have confidential information tenets where basically you're privy to confidential information, so a good code is to not break that trust. And then you refrain from getting involved in political activities, because a lot of times your bosses are going to be elected officials, so you don't want to be anywhere involved in political activities, whether it's election season or not. And then the other awkward one, but it makes sense for IEDC, is you do not take advantage of natural disasters or disaster hit areas. Why that's true, you may be asking why, is because if the neighboring area gets hit with a massive amount of flooding, it'd be really easy for economic developers to poach some of those businesses out of that area. It's not illegal, but in our profession it is unethical to kind of do that. So religious codes, basically I go to the Grove Community Church. We have our belief system and ethics are rooted in a couple different areas, but really it's the California Baptist Convention, and the Bible is really divine source of information. That's our instructions, and God has set principles within that Bible to follow. So he's our ruler, he is the rule setter. You also need to continue your faith, so continue growing in the Lord in your education and your faith. Stewardship of the community, so to involve the community, be a good steward and a partner, to cooperate with the community, as well as to help to work to improve the social order. So for the most part, they kind of stay out of each other's. The two different religious and professional codes kind of stay out of each other's business. One's relying upon the community and enforcing laws and what not to do to benefit yourself, and the other one's strictly what principles to follow morally. There are some things that they do agree upon, and that is cooperating with everyone, continuing to educate yourself, and then really respecting the community. And the disagreements are going to be at those things where you're upholding laws, because the city may have laws that conflict with those that may be within the Bible. And the most applicable theory for the codes that I went over is probably going to be the virtue theory. So to be a good person, you do right things at the right time, in the right amount, for the right people, and you're really striving to improve. So those things were very similar to the professional codes of ethics. And then divine command theory, obviously towards the religious belief system and the religious codes, because we're looking at what God has put together and what principles we should follow based on his establishment of those principles and laws. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to watching all of your videos. Thank you.